So there was some opinion polling done by YouGov around Islam and its role in Britain, whether or not people think that it's compatible with the British way of life, and the results will shock many of the London elites that don't live in the real world, you know, people that live in Surrey and Kensington and places like that. And what it shows is that a plurality of people think that Islamic immigration has been bad for Britain, and I believe a majority of people believe that Islam is incompatible with British values. Now, I'm not a huge fan of the whole British values thing. I think it's a stupid way of determining who is or isn't British, but what ultimately British values, or as I would prefer to say, Western values, do exist. And look, I think a lot of right-wingers criticise Islam a bit too much, in my opinion. I mean, for example, sometimes you might see a picture of a woman dressed in a burqa next to a woman that's not really wearing anything, saying, "Oh, wow, look how good we are. Our women dress immodestly." I mean, I don't really think that's the message to give off. I mean, I know that I'm a British nationalist, but I do think there are some good things about Islam. It's very traditional, it's very conservative, it opposes usury, but ultimately it is incompatible with the British way of life, because as nationalists, we believe that our ethnicity is one of the most important things that makes us who we are. We believe that heritage is important. We want to live around people that are closely related to us in terms of, you know, their nationality and so on. Whereas Islam is different. If Islam believes that the Ummah comes first, you know, Muslims are about prioritizing the people of their fellow religion rather than the people of their fellow race. And that's fine. I mean, if that's what they want, then they can do that. But, you know, that's just not how we define society in the West. We believe that, you know, the people that you should associate with are the people of your nationality, not the people of your religion. Because the problem with defining society on religion, I think, is that it can change. Religion is not fixed, right? I mean, you know, how do you measure to what extent someone believes in a religion, right? I mean, you know, is for a Muslim country to exist where you support Muslim immigration and you want to deport non-Muslims, you know, how Muslim does someone have to be? Or if someone actually practices Islam, how do you know whether they're actually believing in it or if they're just doing it so they can live in the country? Now, most Islamic countries don't deport people for not being Muslims, but they do punish them. You know, in a lot of countries, you're compelled to follow the teachings of Islam, and that's not what should happen here. I believe that we should have freedom of religion. I mean, personally, I don't really believe in any religion. I think that people should be able to do what they want in terms of religion. If people want to be Islamic or Christian, then that's up to them. But I think that we should determine society on British laws and what's best for the British people. And if that contradicts the teachings of any religion, then so be it, right? For example, halal slaughter. It's not very nice. It's quite brutal. Most people in opinion polls oppose it. It should be banned. And you know, Nigel Farage says that we can't ban it because Muslims will be upset.
Does he agree with non-stunned meat such as kosher and halal?
I don't like it.
Should it be banned?
I don't like it.
Should we only do it the traditional fashion in this country?
Do you know what, Nick? I think we've got to a point where the size of these communities is such that it's really quite difficult to do. We could ban it, but we would, if we were to ban it, we would bring this to the centre of national political debate for a very considerable period of time, with strong opinions on both sides, and that's fine. But I'm going to argue we've got more important, more urgent priorities.
But who cares? You know, it's immoral because you're killing animals before they are stunned. That's, you know, we have a long tradition of animal welfare in this country. It's just not how we do things. And I think one of the most interesting things about that opinion poll by YouGov is the extent to which Reform UK supporters are critical of Islam, which is surprising given that Reform UK have a Muslim not chairman anymore, head of Doge, Zia Yusuf is now. Their expected candidate for Mayor of London in 2028 is a Muslim, and you know, with someone like Zia Yusuf, I don't understand why he's in Reform. I mean, the doctrine of Islam, which is that the Ummah comes first before everything, that's not compatible with immigration control. So either Zia Yusuf is more of a cultural Muslim that just identifies with it because he was raised as a Muslim but he doesn't really believe in it anymore, or he's a devout Muslim that's infiltrated Reform because he believes that he can sort of sabotage the party from within and to try and stop them from getting elected. And I mean, if you look at some of the things he's done, it certainly is possible that he's trying to sabotage the party from within. I mean, he called his own MP, Sarah Pochin, dumb for asking a question about banning the burqa. He's wrongly accused Suella Braverman and Robert Jenrick of not fulfilling their duties by not talking about the Afghan scandal. And look, obviously it's ridiculous that these Afghans were allowed here, but you know, as far as I'm aware, ministers aren't allowed to breach the National Security Act, right? And I don't believe that parliamentary privilege extends beyond it. And even if ministers are allowed to use parliamentary privilege to violate the National Security Act, I mean, you know, what kind of precedent does it set? I mean, it just opens up a Pandora's box essentially, and it's a box that should stay closed. And yeah, it really shows the disconnect between Nigel Farage and his own supporters. I mean, his own supporters opposed Muslim immigration, and he put a Muslim as his chairman. Now, one area where I do disagree with public opinion on this is that the polls showed that public are supportive of Hindu, Sikh, Jewish and Christian immigration. And ultimately, even if the immigrants are Hindu, Sikhs, Jews or Christians, it's still going to result in the British population becoming a minority. I mean, you know, most Africans, sub-Saharan Africans, are Christians, right? I mean, you know, Axel Rudder-Cabana was the son of Christian immigrants. You know, most of the Africans that are stabbing each other in London come from a Christian background. You know, like, Eastern European immigration is okay, right? In declaration of interest, I have some Eastern European heritage, but overall, I don't think anyone can say that, you know, we have Eastern European gangs that are destroying this country. We do have Roma gypsies that are a problem, but they're not really Eastern European. And yeah, and you know, people like Tommy Robinson will say that Hindu and Sikh immigration is fine. No, it isn't. They don't integrate. We don't want them to integrate. They don't want to integrate. You know, they live in parallel societies, and that's fine. You know, integration is going to result in the destruction of the British people. So yeah, Tommy Robinson is wrong. Hindu and Sikh immigration is bad, because all immigration is bad, because it's still going to lead to the destruction of the indigenous British people. Now, if you've enjoyed this video, then please leave a like, subscribe to the channel. I will see you in the next one. Bye.